All right, hi, I'm Maxwell Greenberg, and this is my grandpa.
Martin Silverman.
And we're going to be talking today about his experience with online theft and telephone theft. So,
Right.
Poppy, I know that you had a little bit of experience with that recently. I think it was either about a year ago or so.
Right.
Would you like to explain maybe a little bit of the
Right.
circumstances?
It was, I believe, in April of 2023, and I was with my wife. We lived with my son, who was working at the time, and we got a phone call early in the morning saying that my granddaughter was in a vehicle accident, and she hit a car that the woman who was driving the other car was pregnant. And they took away my granddaughter's license, her IDs, and whatever, her key to the car, and that she's temporarily being held in some sort of temporary jail in Long Island. And they're trying to work out a deal where they can get her out, and they would need some money to pay for her release. And I said, can I speak to my granddaughter on her cell phone? I said, we're not allowed to do that because we took her cell phone. We have control over it. And it didn't raise a red flag to me, but it should have. And they hemmed and hawed, and they gave me a phone number, the guy's name, and I called it back, and it sounded legitimate. They knew a lot of details that I was surprised. And the woman that they put on the phone that was supposed to be my granddaughter sounded just like her. And my wife even agreed that it sounded like her. Now, mind you, again, this was early in the morning, and we were very concerned. And I said to the woman on the phone who was supposed to be my granddaughter, you know, this happened once before you were in an accident. And the girl said, yes, I know. And that's, how did she know that my granddaughter was in another accident? That should have raised another red flag. Also taking her cell phone. And then they wouldn't let me speak to her. So they said in order to get her out of jail, they called back 1 or 2 times. They would need a certain amount of money, and there's a new judge coming in right now. And it sounded very legit. And they hemmed and hawed about the price, and they couldn't get the judge, and they finally got someone. And I was, very eager to get my granddaughter out of jail.
Of course.
I should have asked, why didn't you call her parents first, and things like that. We were so anxious to get her out. So the windup was we agreed to a sum of money that $8,000 I took out of my bank account. I'm not a wealthy man. And I met the person. They identified his name and his clothing, would meet me downstairs. I'd give him the money. They asked me not to take a picture. That should have also raised a red flag. And I said, how would I get my money back if she's released? So, well, they'd come back the next day and they would give you the money back. And I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. I gave the guy the $8,000. And when I called the number back after the guy picked up the money and left, there was no answer. I knew right away that I was scammed. I went to my local precinct, and they tried to help me. They were very courteous, and they said this is a very common occurrence. In fact, one of the female police officers, her mother was just ripped off for $9,000 in a similar scam, and there were other scams going on in Long Island like that, even worse. So, of course, I was devastated, and I found out, thank God, my granddaughter is okay, and I realized never going to get my money back, and this is just one of many cases like that. In fact, someone 2 blocks from my house had an almost identical scam. She lost a little more money than I did, not much more. And she was also scammed out of $9,000, I was told. And I was devastated, really devastated. And I'm not going to cry over money I can't get back. What are you going to, life goes on, I guess. But they explained to me, they filled out a full report to police. They came to where I lived. They interviewed the management. They went over the cameras to see if they can find anything, and they didn't. And that was the end of that. And here I am. So a little wiser, unfortunately.
Yeah, wow. Thank you so much for sharing,
Thank
Poppy.
you.
And
No.
just, have you heard more calls from similar people?
There was 1 or 2, not quite the same, but
Yeah, they're still
they're still
attempting.
active, and
Okay.
they're getting very sophisticated, very professional. They're going to acting schools, duplicating voices,
Wow.
how to tone their voices to make it sound legit. They go over their plans very intense. Mm-hmm. So they want you to convince you that it's legit. In fact, there was a case, someone about 1.5 miles, 2 miles from here, where there's one senior citizen, I'm one also, that he was watched and studied for about 4 months.
Wow.
And there was an
4
article
months.
about him in the newspapers, and he was scammed out of $38,000. And they got away with it.
Wow. That's terrible.
So this is just one of many. You got to be very careful out there. It's a dangerous world. Very dangerous.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time, Poppy. Thank you.
Thank you.